Good evening, Asia. Good afternoon, Middle East, and good morning, Americas. Welcome to AMN Academy, where we teach you free lessons on various English examinations that are needed to go to the United States of America. This is Ervin Temporal, founder and CEO of 9.09er English, the English Review Center partner of AMN Healthcare International. For those of you who have joined us just now, welcome to AMN Academy, where the partner review centers of AMN Healthcare International give you free lessons on how to conquer the different examinations that are needed to go to the United States. If it's the first or third Monday of the month, it's the turn of 9.09er English to give you free lessons on English exams such as IELTS. But if it's the second or fourth Monday of the month, it's the turn of NCLEX Review Center partners of AMN Healthcare International to give you free lessons on how to ace the next generation NCLEX. But since it's the third Monday of the month, it's our turn to give you a free lecture. And for tonight, our topic is IELTS on paper versus IELTS on computer. Before we go into that, let's first ask our live viewers, which particular state in the United States of America are you planning to go to? So, this Facebook Live session is initially intended for the nurses of AMN Healthcare International. But if you know anyone who is planning to take IELTS in the next few weeks or next few months, you can also tag them so that they can join our discussion for tonight. Anyway, it's free of charge. You don't have to pay anything to join our free lecture for tonight. And in the event that you have to do something, well, no worries, because the recorded version of this live lecture will be made immediately available here on the Facebook page of AMN Healthcare International. Now, let's take a look if we have responses from some of our live viewers. Now, we have 20 live viewers. Martina Herman is joining us from Germany. Let me just go back to the question. Which particular state in the United States of America are you planning to go to? Let's see if we have responses from some of our live viewers. Well, why did we ask that question? Well, it's simple. There are more than 50 states in USA. Some of them accept this particular English examination. The others require a specific English test. So some people are shocked or surprised that after they take a different English examination, the state that they are planning to go to does not accept that alternative English exam. So AMN Healthcare International did a research, and the common denominator that binds all of the more than 50 states of the United States, only IELTS is accepted by all states. That is why, moving forward, the recommendation of AMN to our dear nurses, take IELTS so that if you change your mind in the future, you can still be deployed to the United States, because IELTS is accepted in all states. By the way, there are two reasons why you need to pass an English examination. Number one is for your visa screen, and number two, your license endorsement. Well, for your visa screen, there are 6 English examinations to choose from. You can pick from any of the 6. But some nurses are confronted with the dilemma of taking another English exam because the first English test that they have taken is not accepted by the State Board of Nursing in the particular state that they're planning to go to. So what is our solution? If you want to hit 2 birds with 1 stone from the very beginning, take IELTS so that you can secure your visa screen and your license endorsement by taking just 1 examination. That's why for tonight, we're going to talk about the different modes of IELTS and why IELTS on computer is more recommended and more advantages than IELTS on paper. So let's take a look at some of the new responses before we compare paper-based versus computer-delivered IELTS. Yeah, I said no idea yet. But regardless of the state that you're planning to go to, IELTS is the safer choice because it will open opportunities to all of the states in USA. And then Steffi here is watching us from Trinidad. Good morning to our dear brothers and sisters in the Americas, and we are hoping that our discussion for tonight will help you decide which mode of IELTS you're going to take to help you fulfill that American dream. And then I said, well, what's the best place possible? Well, we recommend that you talk to the counselors and the pathway consultants of AMN Healthcare Internationals or the case manager so that they can tell you which state is most ideal based on your preferences. And then Steffi Charles also asked, which one do you recommend? As mentioned, it might be best to talk to the case managers of AMN Healthcare International. But wait, if you have not applied yet, all you have to do is to visit the website of AMN, or you can send them a message on Facebook so that you can jumpstart your application. If you're looking for the most generous agency out there that will help you go to the United States, AMN sponsors a lot. And when I mean a lot, imagine that the review for English examinations is given totally free of charge to the qualified nurses who are sponsored by AMN. And yes, the English examination is also free. I understand that going to the United States might require a lot of budget. So if you are that kind of person who is taken aback by the expenses of going to the United States, well, we are here to show you that AMN Healthcare International is probably one of the most generous agencies out there. So don't think twice. If you have not started anything yet, jumpstart your US application by going to the website of AMN or by sending them a message here on Facebook. Let's get down to it. Let's move on to the next slide as I show you the 3 kinds of IELTS academic tests. USA visa screen and license endorsement require the nurses to take the academic module. FYI, you cannot go to the United States if you're going to use IELTS general training. Therefore, it should be IELTS academic. But what are your options? Is it IELTS on paper, IELTS on computer, or IELTS online test at home? CGFNS and the State Boards of Nursing of the United States made it clear that the nurses planning to go to US must take either IELTS on paper or IELTS on computer because online test at home is not recognized by the United States of America. So let me just clarify when I say IELTS on computer. This means to say that you travel all the way to the designated testing center, take the test at the testing venue on a desktop computer, meaning to say you are not allowed to bring your own laptop. You are not allowed to take the test at home. So even if you have a computer at home, forget about it. You still need to go all the way to the testing center to take the test either on paper or on computer. But now, you know that you only have 2 options left. But you might want to ask, what about the percentage or the ratio of 9.09er nurses who passed IELTS with who are sponsored by AMN Healthcare International? Well, straight from the horse's mouth, 20% of our passers took IELTS on paper. 80% of our passers took the test on computer. So the point of our discussion for tonight is to show you why it's best for you to choose IELTS on computer instead of IELTS on paper. But don't get me wrong. We are not saying do not take the test on paper if you're more comfortable with it. We are just saying that there are more benefits and more advantages should you choose to take the test on computer. So let's take a look at their differences. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So now we are going to see the differences. Let's begin with availability of test dates. Guys, if you're going to take IELTS test on paper, most of the time it's only available 2 times or 3 times in a month if you live in the capital of the country where you live in. If you live in the countryside, it's probable that your IELTS on test paper options are limited to once a month, or sometimes if you live far from the city, it is possible that the next available test date for IELTS on paper might be 2 months or 3 months from now. So IELTS on paper has limited availability as compared to IELTS on computer. But what about IELTS on computer? If you live in the capital of the country where you live in, expect that IELTS on computer is available literally every day for almost 365 days in a year. There are instances when the test centers are closed, say for instance, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, and all that. But for the rest of the year, even the national holidays of the country where you live in, it's expected that IELTS on computer examinations will still push through. So do the math. IELTS on computer available nearly 365 days in a year, but for IELTS on paper, if you live in the capital, that's 2 to 3 multiplied by 12, only 24 to 36 test dates in a year. So if we're going to talk about the availability of test exams, then, or rather test dates, go for IELTS on computer. But what about examination venues? let's look at the Philippines. Well, I'm using the Philippines as an example, but it does not mean that only Filipinos can join our class for tonight. In the Philippines, there are 32 testing centers nationwide. There might be more venues for IELTS on paper. That's because it's not conducted often. But for IELTS on computer, there are more than 20 testing centers nationwide. So if we're going to look at the percentage, definitely there are a little more venues for IELTS on paper as compared to IELTS on computer. But that's because for IELTS on paper, sometimes you have to wait for 2 months or 3 months before you can take the next examination. But for IELTS on computer, rest assured that even if it's in the countryside or province, the examination is available literally every week. Most of the time, once a week or twice a week. So you don't have to wait for 2 months. You don't have to wait for 3 months if you're going to take the test on computer, because this Saturday or the following Saturday, you can surely take the examination. Now, let's move on to another important deciding factor. If you're going to take the test on paper, you have to wait for 13. Ladies and gentlemen, 13 calendar days before the results are out. Most of the written exams are conducted on a Saturday. So when are we going to expect the results for IELTS on paper? 2 Fridays later. So for instance, if you're going to take the test this coming Saturday, let's take a look at the calendar. This Saturday is the 26th of the month. So 13 days from now, that means to say if you're going to take, rather, it's the 25th this coming Saturday, 2 weeks from now or 13 days from now, November 7th, that's when your result will be available. But for IELTS on computer, the results are out in 1 to 2 days. So imagine the burden of 13 sleepless nights if you're going to take the test on paper versus 1 to 2 nights of sleeplessness if you're going to wait for your result for IELTS on computer. And I know for a fact that a lot of nurses have to beat the deadline. Sometimes your priority date is already current and AMN or your employer wants you to take the examination already, or there are candidates whose visa screen is about to expire. So taking the IELTS on computer is the better option, considering that you can get your result the following day or at most 2 days. Now, let's take a look at the number of examinees. When you take the test on paper, expect a lot of candidates taking the test together with you. If you live in the capital, there are instances when 50 or at most 100 people are taking the test at the same time. And sometimes it's a little more overwhelming. You get to be more nervous if you take the examination in a big function room or in a big ballroom, knowing that you are exposed to actual examination conditions. There are so many candidates and there are so many invigilators. So you really feel that you are taking an exam. But for IELTS on computer, most of the time, there are only 3 candidates taking the test at the same time. Based on my experience, maximum of 10 candidates taking the test together. 10 candidates if you're taking the test on weekend, but most of the time, only 3 candidates if you're taking the test on weekday. So there are just 2 or 3 invigilators, and you won't really feel that you are in an examination because very few people are taking the test. So for exclusivity, I bet that you'd rather take the examination on computer as compared to an overwhelming number of candidates should you decide to take the test on paper. Now, let us move on to one skill rating. If you're going to take the test on paper, there is no option for you to apply for one skill rating. However, if you're going to take the test on computer, and you are unhappy with your grade in one subtest, say for instance, your overall band score is 6.5 and that's good enough for you to work in the United States. However, your speaking grade is just 6.5. CGFNS requires a 7 in speaking. State boards of nursing also require a 7 in speaking. This means to say, if you're unhappy with your speaking grade, but your overall band score is enough, then you don't have to take listening, reading, and writing anymore on your next attempt. All you have to do is to get that 7 in speaking, one skill only. You don't have to do the other 3, And the moment you get a 7 for your one skill retake in speaking, voila, you can submit that to CGFNS or the State Boards of Nursing without repeating listening, reading, and writing. But this is a feature which is not available for IELTS on paper. That is why we recommend IELTS on computer. Now, let's move on to the schedule of the speaking examination. Guys, if you're going to take the test on computer, the promise is you get to finish all the 4 subtests in one day. How does this work? You are asked to choose the schedule of your written exams, morning or afternoon session. Should you decide to take the morning session for the written exams, when are you going to have the speaking test? After lunch. But if you choose the afternoon session for the written exams, when are you going to have speaking? In the morning. So that is the promise of IELTS. You won't go back to the examination venue anymore as all the 4 subtests are completed in one day. But what if you're going to take the test on paper? There is no guarantee that your speaking test will be on the same day. In fact, there are 3 possibilities should you take the test on paper. Possibility number 1, having the speaking test the day before the written exams. Possibility number 2, having the speaking on the day. Or possibility number 3, having the speaking test the day after. And this is totally dependent on the number of candidates taking the examination. So if there are only 10 of you taking the test on paper, for sure all of you are going to be scheduled for speaking on the same day. But what if there are 30 or there are 100 of you taking the examination for IELTS on paper? Expect that some of you will be asked to go back to the examination venue on a different day in order for you to be accommodated for the speaking examination. So once again, why is IELTS on computer more convenient? That's because you don't have to go back to the examination venue on a different day. But for IELTS on computer, the probability is high that your speaking examination will not be conducted on the same day. Guys, let's now move on to the next slide, and this time let's talk about the similarities. Paper and computer exams are not all about differences, as they have similarities too. But before we carefully examine these 3 similarities, let's take a look if we have new comments from our 30 live viewers. So, Nanette Peralta is planning to go to Wisconsin, and she's watching us from the Philippines. Okay, so far we have no new questions from our live viewers. We expect our live viewers to use the comment section. Ask anything that you want to know about the programs of AMN or the review package that is being sponsored by AMN, or simply questions related to IELTS. We are here to entertain live questions until the end of our Facebook live session at around 9:30 or 9:35 p.m. Now, as promised, let's take a look at the similarities. So number 1, examination fee is the same for IELTS on paper and IELTS on computer in the country where you live. Let me specify that one, because IELTS examination fee is not the same worldwide. I was told that in some countries, IELTS examination fees are more expensive. So let's take a look at the as the example, because I live in the Philippines. In this country, the examination fee is at 13,460 pesos. It's exactly the same for IELTS on paper and IELTS on computer, but there are promotional offers from time to time. Like right now, 9.09er in partnership with the British Council offer a discounted examination fee of only 12,460 pesos. Let me correct myself. The regular price is 13,660 pesos. So if you're going to course your IELTS exam registration through 9.09er English, then we offer it for only 12,460 pesos instead of 13,660 pesos. So you're going to save around 1,200 pesos if you course your IELTS exam registration through Niner. But This is an offer which is not available outside of the Philippines. So, say for instance, if you live in, we have live viewers from Germany and Trinidad and Tobago. Kindly search for the nearest IELTS testing center near you. Kindly check if there is a British Council or an IDP testing center near you to administer the examination. And rest assured that the fee is exactly the same for paper and computer. Now, let us move on to the types of questions. If you prepare for IELTS, we make you prepared for both paper and computer because they use exactly the same materials. That's why you do not say that IELTS on paper is easier than IELTS on computer. Or it's totally wrong to say that IELTS on computer is more difficult than IELTS on paper because whatever test paper that comes out for IELTS on paper, these are also exactly the same questions that come out to the or being given to the candidates who are going to take the test on a computer. So same review materials, same level of difficulty for IELTS on paper and IELTS on computer. Guys, we have established the similarities and differences between the two. Now, perhaps we can move on to the next slide. So for the next slide, this is going to give you an idea that 9.09er is able to give discounted examination fees. Why? Imagine that in the Philippines, we are also the official testing center in 12 cities nationwide. So basically, what is the difference between review center and testing center? Review center 9.09er is considered a review center because we offer preparation courses for various English examinations like the IELTS. That is why the guarantee of AMN Healthcare International, you don't have to worry about your English review and English preparation because this is sponsored by AMN. As long as you qualify, after you pass your NCLEX, you are endorsed to 9.09er English for your free English review. And then our coaches and lecturers are going to give you the go signal if you are ready to take the examination. But after the review, where are you going to take the test? Fortunately for our dear nurses in the Philippines, 9.09er English is also the official testing center in the following locations. So if you live in the National Capital Region of Metro Manila, we have 2 testing centers in Metro Manila. Our main branch, P. Campa España, Manila, near University of Santo Tomas, near Far Eastern University, near PRC Moraita. Our second testing center in Metro Manila is in Makati, located near Makati Medical Center. But if you are from the Southern Tagalog region, that's Region 4A, we are also the official testing center in Cavite, Laguna, and Batangas. But we're in particular in Cavite, let's go to the city of Imus. If you're from Laguna, our testing center is located in Calamba. Or if you're from the province of Batangas, our testing center is located in Lipa. What about up north? Northern part of the Philippines, we are also the official testing center in 4 key cities, and they are Dagupan, Pangasinan, Cabanatuan, Nueva Ecija, Tuguegarao, Cagayan Valley, and Vigan, Ilocos Sur. Don't worry if you're from the Visayas or Mindanao because we are also the official testing center in selected cities over there. In Visayas, we have 2 testing centers with the British Council. One is in Iloilo and the other one is Bacolod, Negros Occidental. In Mindanao, we have 1 testing center and that's Cagayan de Oro in partnership with IDP. So if you live in the Philippines, kindly indicate your location on the comments section. Why do we need to ask for your location? Because maybe your city or your province might be our next testing center. We are looking for more places where we can possibly put testing centers to make the examination more accessible for our dear examinees. Imagine it's convenient for you. You don't have to travel to the nearest city or the nearest province because 9.09er is bringing the examination to you. So once again, those are the 12 testing centers of 9.09er in the Philippines. That's why we have rebranded from 9.09er IELTS Review Center. Now we are 9.09er English Corporation. We dropped the word IELTS because now we are also an official review center and testing center for other English tests. And we dropped the word review center. Instead, we replaced this with English Corporation because we are no longer just a review center. We are also the testing center. So for some of you guys who are not enrolled at Niner and you feel that, oh, I don't need preparation courses anymore. I'm good with English. I can take the examination immediately. When you take the actual exam, you will still go to our facilities because we are also the official testing center. Now, let's take a look at the next slide, please. This time, why is it that AMN Healthcare International chose 9.09 English to be their official partner? Well, number one, I understand that there are people who prefer to learn by going to a facility, a physical setup where they can talk to the instructor in person. In the Philippines alone, we have 21 review centers where our dear AMN Healthcare International nurses can attend face-to-face classes. But thank you to AMN Healthcare International for making us also the official review provider for other nationalities, because right now we have online reviewees from 154 countries worldwide, and our one-on-one coaching is available literally 24/7. This means to say that we have three shifts for our coaches. We have coaches working on a shifting schedule. There's the morning shift, the afternoon shift, and the graveyard shift to ensure that we can accommodate all our nurses worldwide. So AMN Healthcare International endorsed the nurses to us so that regardless of where they live, whether they are based in Germany or in Trinidad, they can still be coached by our certified instructors who have not just taken the examination, but also aced the examination. So you will see some of them in our future lectures, like Sir Brian Martin Shawson is usually available once a month, and we have Sir Philip Edward Aitona, whom we feature from time to time. Now, let's take a look at books for sale. Let me show you some of our books. Let me just get them for you. This is our IELTS listening and reading compilation. It's available on Shopee and available soon on Amazon. And by the way, this is 2025 edition, and we are planning to revise this one as 2026 is fast approaching. And then we also have a book for the other subtests. One moment as I get the books. This is our book, which is available on both Shopee and Amazon. And this is IELTS writing book written by Sir Brian Martin Shawson himself. And I understand that that speaking is the most important subject for those who are going to the United States of America. That's why we have come up with a book compiling different questions and sample responses in the speaking subject. Remember, guys, that if you're a nurse going to the United States, speaking is the most important subject because you need to get a 7. For overall band score, it's 6.5. So how do you get 6.5 overall band score? By getting a 7 in speaking, 6 in listening, reading, and writing. That will give you 6.5 overall. But it does not mean that you failed the examination if you only got 5.5 in writing. As long as there's one subtest that's going to pull your overall band score up, you can still go to the United States, provided that your speaking is 7 and your overall band is 6.5. And for those of you who would like to improve the quality of your English, even if you're not going to take IELTS, so we also have grammar and vocabulary book available on Shopee and Amazon. So we are not just digital, we also deliver hard copy of these books depending on where you live. And then this is something that we highlighted earlier. For the candidates who are based in the Philippines, we offer a discounted examination fee, meaning to say you don't have to pay in full. We give discount as much as 1,200 pesos. And our lecturers have gotten perfect scores in the examination. I, for one, took the IELTS twice, one academic, one general training, one with the British Council, and one with IDP. So when I first took the examination with British Council, I got 9 in listening, 8 in 8 in writing, 8.5 in listening and reading. And when I took my second IELTS, this time with IDP, I got a 9 in listening, a 9 in reading, 8 in writing, and 8.5 in speaking. So to speak, in one of my two attempts, I got the perfect 9 in speaking, listening, and reading. And then for writing, consistently 8.0 for both attempts. Now, let's take a look at the next slide. And before we look at the content of the next slide, we have candidates here who have just responded. Nanette is based in Cebu. Okay. Hi, Miss Nanette. There is an IELTS testing center in Cebu. If you are planning to take the examination with the British Council, the testing center in Cebu is CPILS, and IDP has its own office in Cebu, so they don't rent a venue elsewhere. You can just go to IDP Cebu if you'd like to take the examination with them. And then Latia Daka here lives in Zambia. Unfortunately, 9.09er does not have any testing centers outside of the Philippines, but we can still be your official review provider if you are qualified. That's why you have to ask AMN Healthcare International the specific process in order for you to enjoy the English review and examination sponsorship. And then Jang Anep here is based in Bulacan. Right now, there is no IELTS on computer testing center in Bulacan. Let's manifest that soon there will be an option for Bulacanos to take the examination on computer so that you don't have to travel to Quezon City or Pampanga. Now, for those of you who are already enrolled at Niner and you have concerns, my personal Facebook account is Ervin Temporal, or you can also message 9.09er English. And let it be known that I am the one responding to all the messages sent to 9.09er English Facebook page. And you can visit our website, nineronlinereview.com, for you to see everything there, including your online review dashboard. If you'd like to reach out to me personally, this is my business email. It's exams@nineronlinereview.com. And we are everywhere. On YouTube, we have more than 100 free videos to help you pass your IELTS, your other English examinations, and we have free grammar and vocabulary videos on YouTube. If you're looking for a mobile application to help you pass your IELTS and other English exams, we have a mobile app on App Store. And as mentioned earlier, if you're looking for review books, we sell hard copy on both Shopee and Amazon. And if you're looking for podcasts while you're doing something, perhaps you can listen to our free podcasts on Spotify. And if you're looking for short videos, this one, a minute or less, to help you not just pass your English exam, but also tips for grammar and vocabulary. All you have to do is to find us on TikTok. I guess that's the last slide. We would like to thank AMN Healthcare International for giving us the opportunity to talk about IELTS and the review program of 9.09er. And the most important news, that free English review that AMN sponsors. So if you are a nurse and you have not started anything yet with your application, all you have to do is to go to the website of AMN, or you can message AMN Healthcare International on Facebook. AMN is going to respond to your email or is going to send you a message in order for you to have a one-on-one consultation with the case manager or whoever is assigned to review your application. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite you to watch the other shows of AMN. That's every Friday, Onwards and Upwards show. It's usually nighttime in Asia, but morning in the Americas. And 2 Mondays from now, we are going to feature Nurse Diane, who passed her IELTS with British Council Philippines. And I'm sure she will be an inspiration to other future IELTS passers and who are looking for true to life experiences for them to know what our passers did so that they can also emulate and eventually get the required band scores. Once again, thank you so much for attending our live lecture for tonight. We hope to see you in 2 weeks time. Thank you, everyone. Good night and God bless. Bye.